Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This morning we are making pulled pork. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get started right away. Now now this is pretty simple. Of course you're gonna need your rub, and it's simple. It's basically onion powder, garlic powder, all that good stuff. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my rub. And I don't need that. You can discard that. We're going to take half of it and we're going to start rubbing it. Now, you want to make sure that you rub it into the meat really good. You want to make sure, and this is the fat side. Now, I'm not going to do too much of the seasoning because this is basically the fat side, and if we just want to rub it into the meat. But this is easy. Now, this is an updated version of my pulled pork. If you guys remember 6 months ago, I did the recipe, and it's basically the same criteria. Now, the only difference is with that recipe and this recipe is that I'm going to cook this on high, and it's going to be the same amount. It's going to be about 7 to 8 hours on, or excuse me, 6 to 7 hours on high, or you could do about 8 hours on low. It just depends. Now, that side is seasoned, but what we're going to do is we're also going to flip it. Now, this is a big, thick piece of meat. It's about 7 pounds of pork. So I'm going to kind of just flip it onto its side, and I'm going to get the sides of the pork. You want to make sure that you get all sides of your pork. Now, there is a bone in there, and that's going to give it tons of great flavor, okay? And don't be afraid to get your hands dirty, because this is the point where and as you can see, it's going to just cook all day. Now, you don't have to really worry about watching it, because as you know, pulled pork cooks all day. And like I said, I'm going to cook this on high for about 7 to 8 hours. But, you just got to do your thing. Okay, that side is seasoned. Now I'm going to flip it onto the opposite side. Now, this pork is pretty huge. Like I said, 7-pound pork shoulder. So I'm going to flip it onto its opposite side, if I can manage this, and we're going to do this side. Now, same idea. We're going to just season it on all sides, and you really want to rub it into that meat, and you're basically just going to season it well, and it's totally fine if we're making a mess, because I'll clean that up later. It's no big deal, okay? So as you can see, it's really seasoned well. I don't want to use all of it, because I want to make sure I save some for the top. Okay. Now I'm going to throw it into my slow cooker, if I can get it without it weird this morning. So, I'm sorry if the camera's not close to the Crock-Pot, but I hope you guys here, let me just move this out of the way. And actually, let me just do this real quick, guys. Just do my quick a little baby rinse. Let me just do something real quick. Now, this pork, like I said, is going to cook on high. You really want to make sure that you cook your pork long enough for it to fall apart. That's the goal. So now, just because I want you guys to see inside the slow cooker, you guys can see that. So, same idea. We're going to take our rub, and we're going to season the top. So, I'm going to take the remaining spice mixture, and I'm just going to, you know what? Let's live here. Let's just live, guys. Let's do this. All right. So we're same thing. If you guys can see what I'm doing, I'm just basically rubbing it into the meat. It's totally fine if it falls on the sides, because it's gonna cook all day. As this cooks, you'll notice that I'm kind of just going around my slow cooker, and I did spray my slow cooker, and I just want to give a shout out because my friends requested this. Doug Zane and my friend Nicholas requested that I do this video. So guys, I'm making it for you guys. And this video is good, so you guys will be able to know how to make pulled pork. Now, some people run into the problem of cooking it too long. Now, I'm going to give you a tip. If you cook it, some people run into the problem thinking that they're overcooking it, but in reality, it's really the opposite. You're actually undercooking it so it comes out dry and tough. But this pork is going to be amazing, because we're going to cook this on high for about 7 hours. Now, this is basically easy. So as you can see, my pork is nice and rubbed. It's rubbed into that meat really good. Now I'm going to show you something else I'm going to do. Okay. Now, I think that's pretty good. We got it pretty much mixed. Now, you don't want, this is going to be barbecue pulled pork. Now, we don't want to cut into it right away if we don't need to. And the pork fits great in the slow cooker. What I'm doing now is I'm just kind of patting it, just kind of spanking it into the meat really good because I want to make sure that all that flavor gets into that pork, you know? I want to make sure it's seasoned really good. Just kind of rubbing. Okay, now, I'm going to wash my hands and then I'll show you what the next step is going to be. Now, this recipe is an easy recipe to make. It's not really that difficult to do. I've done this recipe before. So what I'm going to do also, I'm going to show you something else. This is something that I usually don't do, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do, but this is something that most people do when they make pulled pork. I'm going to keep going though. Now, as you can see, there's a layer of water down there, but that's going to be fine. Now, this pork's going to, I know I'm getting my hands dirty again, but I'm trying to get the pork into that meat. It's going to cook all day. All right, I'm going to wash my hands, and then I'll put the lid on for you guys. Now, you guys, now this pork is pretty good. It's good, now, it's good as it is because we cook it low and slow. We really want those flavors to get into that pork, okay? All right, I'm going to discard my bowl. I don't need that anymore. Now, here's the rule. Lid on, and we're going to cook this on high. Usually, now, if you guys remember the last time we did pork, I cooked it on low, but it takes a long time to cook, which it still is, but same criteria. So, lid on, and, you know, I should probably plug it in. Raise your hand if you left the house without plugging the Crock-Pot in before. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure it's plugged in. Hold on, guys. I'm having a little bit difficult this morning. All right, I'm going to plug it in. If I can get it to plug in right. Now, I don't know if you guys can see the Crock-Pot, but you guys can see the pork, right? It's so basically, before I show you, I'm going to show you this really fast because I want to make sure you guys understand what I did. So I'm going to kind of, this is basically what you want. This is basically what the pork looks like. I don't know if you guys can really tell, but that's basically, I'm going to kind of flip it. Can you guys see that? That's basically what you want your pork to look like. Okay? All right. Lid on. Now, this is going to be easy. We're going to plug it in because, like I said, you can raise your hand if you left the house without plugging the Crock-Pot in before, because I know I've never done that. If I can get it to... okay. Sorry, guys. This video is going to be a little bit difficult. Now, I'm going to come back in a few hours. I'm going to come back in about 7 hours to shred my meat. Hopefully it's tender. I don't know why I can't get this to... Hang on, guys. Hold on, guys. This may take me a few minutes to get it plugged in here because it's gonna be. All right, you know what, guys? I'm gonna do it. Actually, I could actually. Here, as long as I get this plugged in. There we go. Okay, now. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm gonna put this down now. Now, if you guys can see the Crock-Pot, you guys will be able to see this, right? So now, on high, we're gonna turn this up. Okay, I'm going to put it on high, and this is going to cook on high for about, now, remember, same criteria, on high for about 7 hours. About maybe 7 to 8 hours, actually, because the pork, now, pork takes a long time to cook. It's a really big, thick piece of meat, so you want to let it cook on high for 7 hours. After 7 hours, we're going to come back, and I'll show you. Now, I'm going to also show you. Now, I've discussed this before in the video. You guys remember these from like a few videos ago? We're going to shred it with the meat claws, okay? So, cook this on high for 7 hours, come back, shred the meat, and that'll be our video. So, I'll be back later. Bye. Vlog on. Oh, and peace out.